Delicious. Wow. Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and welcome to a very special ranking indeed, my ranking of the Middle-earth saga, the two trilogies directed by Peter Jackson and are adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien's books, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Now, I love all six Middle-earth movies. Boy, was this a hard ranking to do. I don't think there's a single bad Middle-earth film here, but of course, some are better than others, and I do have a personal opinion on them. By the end of this ranking, I can't wait to hear your ranking of the saga. So, without further ado, let's start at number 6 and work our way up to number 1. Number 6 on my list, The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies, the conclusion to the Hobbit trilogy. Now, I think it's universally agreed upon that this is the weakest of the Hobbit trilogy and Middle-earth saga in general, as it did have potential to be great, considering I loved and defended the first two Hobbit films, but the film overall just had a lack of story and felt kind of like the third act of a story, as Jeremy Jordan said in his review. And the battle was epic and entertaining, but not a patch on any of the Lord of the Rings battles, and way overused the CGI to the point where not much looked real whatsoever. And the romance went absolutely nowhere with Gillian Turiel, and the Alfred was completely pointless. The ending completely lacked closure to all the subplots that this trilogy set up. So why even make The Hobbit a trilogy if you're only going to conclude Bilbo's story? This really should have been two films, as Peter Jackson originally wanted. I can see why he got frustrated while working on The Hobbit as the studio forced him to rush it, but this film is not without merits. There are some outstanding performances. The opening with Smaug attacking Lake Town, top freaking notch. The White Council versus Sauron in Dol Guldur, amazing, brilliantly ties into Lord of the Rings, and the relationship between Thorin and Bilbo is the heart of the film and easily the best aspect of it. Martin Freeman and Richard Armitage are both the best performances of the movie. Richard Armitage should have won an Oscar. Why did he not get the attention? And Dane Ironfoot, played by Billy Connolly, was epic. So yeah, I do enjoy this movie more than I don't. It's a good enough end to the Hobbit trilogy, and bridge between the two trilogies, it is overall just the most underwhelming. Number 5 on my list, The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, what many would consider to be the best of the Hobbit trilogy. Is my second favourite of the Hobbit trilogy. This movie did some things better than the first movie. Undeniably, it improved the pace, it upped the action, it upped the stakes. It's further developed the relationship between Thorin and Bilbo. Thorin was beginning to respect Bilbo more. It's had more gender equality. Turiel was freaking kick-ass and badass, flawlessly played by Evangeline Lilly. And I love the inclusion of the elves. I love seeing the different locations at Middle-earth that we haven't seen before, like Mirkwood, Lake Town, and we actually get to see Gandalf battle Sauron in Dol Guldur. That was awesome. That fixed a plot hole from the book. And Smaug, what can I say? Well, the best freaking dragons ever put to the silver screen. Benedict Cumberbatch knocked it out of the freaking park. The scenes of Smaug are without question the best of the movie, and so are the best of the Hobbit trilogy. And that cliffhanger, which set up 3 different cliffhangers alone, was absolutely jaw-droppingly epic. So yeah, and did I mention what an epic ride that barrel scene is? So yeah, Desolation of Smaug, it's the Empire Strikes Back of the Hobbit trilogy. Number 4, the first and best of the Hobbit trilogy, in my opinion, though I may be in the minority as I've seen this at the bottom of many rankings, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I think this film is an absolutely wonderful, underrated classic. It is the perfect beginning to the Hobbit trilogy. Martin Freeman is the best Bilbo they ever could have gotten. Ian McKellen lost none of his mojo, returning 10 years later as Gandalf. Richard Armitage gives the performance of his career as Thorin. Such a shame he didn't get the attention. And I love the other dwarves, though they aren't as likeable as the Fellowship. They're great fun, and it was Peter Jackson flawlessly took us back to Middle-earth and immersed us in the world. That's what he does best, and he clearly loved making this movie. The sets are so detailed and wonderfully crafted, and the scenery and the effects and makeup are just awe-inspiring, and the soundtrack by Howard's score is wonderful, not in the same league as Lord of the Rings, but still great. And of the three Middle-earth songs, Song of the Lonely Mountain, I See Fire, and The Last Goodbye, Song of the Lonely Mountain is my favourite. That song is just stuck in my head forever. And Azog was a great addition, even if he didn't do much. And I love the Gollum scene. The Gollum scene is the best scene in the Hobbit trilogy. I am being serious. Even if the pacing and the Shire scenes did drag slightly in the first act, that was absolutely necessary for character development, and the second and third act of the movie are just all action, all adventure, and all fun. I have a habit of defending prequels, don't I, guys? I'm such ashamed that this movie didn't get nearly as many Academy Awards as it deserved, I think. Yes, the Hobbit movies aren't in the same league as the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but were they ever going to be? The Lord of the Rings is the greatest movie ever made. Really, very few films are in that league. So, yeah, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey is a prime example, I think, of a perfect prequel. Now, number 3, the first of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the greatest trilogy in cinematic history, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. What can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? It's an absolutely magnificent landmark in cinema. It has everything you want in a perfect movie. The prologue is just so epic, and boy can Cate Blanchett narrate. The cast all perfect, especially Ian McKellen as Gandalf, while Frodo is a decent protagonist. Sam is one of the best characters of this trilogy. Sean Austin should have gotten recognised. Merry and Pippin are great comic relief, and I love their development throughout the 3 films. Aragorn, you really feel for him. He's such a tragic character. Arwen is a badass female. I'm so glad they gave her more to do. And Boromir's death was truly devastating, and one of the saddest movie deaths ever. And the action amazing. For a 3-hour movie, you never feel the length. This is one of the best paced 3-hour movies ever made. The Black Rider scene, the Pass of Canabras, the Mines of Moria, so cinema's best scenes, especially the You Shall Not Pass scene. That is cinematic gold right there, and the cliffhanger will make you immediately want to see The Two Towers. And the soundtrack by Howard Shore, absolutely wonderful, and deserves every bit of praise, and may it be beautiful song, one of the best songs in the Middle-earth series. So yeah, brilliant job, Peter Jackson. This movie could not have been better. While it is overall my least favourite of the trilogy, as it does feel more like the setup in comparison to the others, but that's absolutely necessary and works in the film's favour. So yeah, Fellowship of the Ring, a perfect beginning to a perfect trilogy. Number 2 on my list, and oddly enough, the second and middle character in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Now, people have mixed feelings on The Two Towers. Some people think it's the best, some people think it's the worst in the trilogy, but I personally think it's neither. I think it's the second best. The Two Towers, just like Desolation, Smaug was Empire Strikes Back of The Hobbit, The Two Towers is the Empire Strikes Back of The Lord of the Rings. It's darker than Fellowship of the Ring, certainly more action-packed. The war for Middle-earth has truly begun. The Gollum scenes are all outstanding. This was the first time we saw Gollum on the big screen, and Andy Serkis couldn't have been a better choice for the role. Just give the guy a fucking Oscar already. It's been 15 years now since this film came out, and he still hasn't won an Oscar for motion capture. Anyway, it brilliantly introduces the character of Eowyn, who just wants to fight. She rightfully believes she has the right to fight, even though she's a woman, and thank goodness she actually got her time to shine in Return of the King. The film perfectly balances throughout its 3-hour running time, though just like Fellowship, you never feel the length. There are 2 storylines, Frodo and Sam's journey to Mordor with Gollum, and the war going on with Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli, and Gandalf and Theoden in Rohan as they fight against the armies of Saruman and Sauron. The Battle of Helm's Deep is one of the greatest battles in movie history. It really is. It brilliantly shot with practical effects. So many great one-liners. The Legolas and Gimli competition to who can kill the most Uruk-hai is just absolutely hilarious. There's so much tension in the battle, and there's a great point to it. They're fighting to defend the women and children. That's something that really lacked in the action scenes in The Hobbit. Tension. I know people don't like the Ent scenes with Merry, Pippin and Treebeard, but I think they were great. I don't know what people were talking about, and they were great character development for Merry and Pippin. Merry really grew up and realised that we need to fight back to save our world, and by the end of the film, Pippin realises that too. In the scene where the Ents just take down Isengard, what an epic, satisfying climax to the movie when nature fights back against the machines. Howard Shore's score still as perfect and as magnificent as ever, and I love Gollum's song at the end. It's so tragic, and that cliffhanger makes you want to see Return of the King immediately. So yeah. The Two Towers were the most satisfying second parts to a perfect trilogy. Number one on my list, you just knew this was going to be number one. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. The epic, most perfect, most magnificent conclusion to not just the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not just the Middle-earth saga, but to just any saga I have ever seen. By the end of The Return of the King, I was applauding, I was crying, I couldn't be happier. Return of the King is the definition of a perfect film. Everything you want in a great movie is in Return of the King. Filmmakers in Hollywood should get their books out and take notes from this film. And Peter Jackson should be proud. He did the impossible. He made the third film in a trilogy, the one that's almost always considered the worst, the best, oddly enough. And this is the only fantasy movie to this date ever to win Best Picture, and as well as winning 11 Academy Awards. What a phenomenal achievement, and well deserved. Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers also should have won Best Picture, but Return of the King especially deserved it. The performances all around incredible, and as well as being a great action spectacle, it's one of the most emotional experiences you will ever have on film. Frodo and Sam's and Gollum scenes in Minas Morgul, Shelob's there, and Cirith Ungol are truly, legitimately terrifying, and Sam is really the hero of this movie. He is a total badass. He saves Frodo and has Frodo's back all the freaking time, and he is really the hero of these movies. And the action in this film, absolutely amazing. The best action I have ever seen in film. Not gonna lie, the Battle of Minas Tirith / Pelennor Fields, truly mind-blowingly epic. I have never seen a battle like that, even to this date. So it shows that Peter Jackson can do great battles. This really made him one of the best battle directors easily. And the battle scenes actually heighten the tension, and they never drag, and so many awesome moments and one-liners, just like in Helm's Deep. And Arwen's and Aragorn's romance is actually powerful, as she is pressured by Elrond to leave Middle-earth, but she chooses a mortal life, as she chooses to be with the man she loves and defies her father's wishes. That is a powerful love story. That is so much better than the love story in The Hobbit. And Pippin actually grows up in this film, and the Edge of Night scene when Faramir's riding off to Osgiliath and they get shot down with the arrows while he's seeing Edge of Night, that is such a poignant moment. Oh my gosh. The climax outstanding with the Battle of the Black Gate and the Crack of Doom and the Eagles coming to the rescue. Yes, the Eagles were used when necessary, and people complain about the multiple endings, but I will defend the multiple endings to the end. They were all perfect. They gave this trilogy the closure it deserves, and it made me cry. So yeah, Return of the king is perfect. So that was my ranking of the Middle-earth saga, and thank you, Peter Jackson. Without you, we would never have had Tolkien's adaptations on the big screen. And I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. And what's your ranking of the Middle-earth saga? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. We follow us at Google Plus, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.